Hello, hello. Hey there, YouTube. Slasher Chick and Slasher Dudes. My name's Alicia, and this is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And I am late to my own live stream. But what had happened was would like to acknowledge that today is day 19 of 90. So there's that. Let me give myself some credit for that. And originally I was supposed to be on here by 7 p.m. And around, I think it was, yeah, like 6:45. Maybe it was after 7 already. So maybe I was already late. But either way, I was going to run to the grocery store real quick, pick up a few things, come right back, get on the live stream. While I'm out, I see this cat. And this cat is like clearly a well taken care of cat. It's not like a stray cat. And I can see on the cat's collar that they have like a QR code on their collar. So I'm like, oh, yeah, you have a home. But I'm also not trying to get scratched by this cat. So trying to like get a picture of the QR code so I can see like what does that go to, blah blah blah. Then somebody else comes out and they see me trying to get the cat, and the cat's like going under a car. She's able to get the cat and get the cat in a position where like the cat can't scratch her either. So we get the QR code, call the name, find, it has an address on it and a phone number. The address is literally like the building we're standing in front of. So we're like, great. We call the number, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, that's my cat. He goes outside and comes home all the time. I have never met one of those cats. I know those types of cats exist, but I've never met one before until today. One of those like indoor outdoor cats that just go outside and then come back home. But apparently, I was like, oh, well, I guess that's good to know now in case I see him again. I'm not trying to like find this cat's home. So that's my excuse. It's still an excuse, but it's what had happened. So it took me a little bit longer than I had anticipated to walk down the street because I was trying to find that cat a safe home. If that cat didn't look like my cat who passed away, going on, it's been a good a year and a half now, and I just still haven't had it in me to get another pet. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have been like, oh, that's just a stray city cat. So at any rate, I got the extra things I needed. I needed minced garlic. How I've made it this far in 2024 with no minced garlic in the house, I do not know, but I managed to, and so I needed to go get that. But what I had a couple of things. Originally, I had put that this was going to be about some of the perks of adulting. Now, granted, that was not my title. That was a title that the Tube Buddy type thing suggested, that they thought that was a better title than my original title, which was something along the lines of, what was my original title? Hold on, I'll see if I can share it. They basically told me my original title wasn't all that good. That's what that means. But what had been thinking about basically was like, yeah, it was ultimately things that I have learned to appreciate as an adult that I don't feel like I always appreciated when I was younger. And I think, being able to appreciate these things are some of the perks of adulting. That's what I think. So here are the examples I have. Casual comfort. Oh, I didn't even finish doing this thing either. I forgot I didn't finish the slide. But this was one of the things because I used to be anti Crocs and anti Uggs. And now those things are good for walking. Okay, both of them. especially now that I got the Uggs that have the little fur on the inside and stuff. Oh my goodness. So now I am willing to sacrifice some fashion for function in order to have some casual comfort. Paying bills. That was the thing that, like, I used to be annoyed by this act, right? About having to do this as an adult. Over time, I began to look at that act as just an exercise in abundance. Yes, Coach Sherry, I literally forgot how to wear high heels due to COVID, and so easing back into those was a thing. Uh, but yeah, I have come to appreciate the ritual and ability to be an adult and take care of your responsibilities and pay bills. Hikes in nature. I never used to appreciate nature. What did I care about outside? Now, can I get around some water, something green, a mountain, something? Can I be somewhere where there's no computers, no humans? If you had asked me that, let's say, I would say 15 years ago, maybe my 20s, and I don't even think in my 30s I would have wanted to go somewhere that doesn't have any internet. Now I'm like, yeah, unplug me from everything, and let's see how that feels. I want to go back. Let's go back. Um, but and yeah, there's so many. Pennsylvania's got some really great places to hike and that are along the river. So yeah, I'm appreciating walks of nature so much more because yeah, there's so much to see, and it's unlike anything else. Which brings me to another thing that I have learned to appreciate that I didn't always appreciate, which is silence. It is something that I don't think I there was a time where yeah, I would not have known how valuable it is. Um Wait, what do you mean about Oprah's walking sticks? I know nothing about this. You'll have to tell me more about this, Coach Sherry, in the chat. I might end up having to search this. Um but yeah, I have learned to appreciate silence. And for me, one of the greatest indicators on how close I am to someone is if we can sit in silence and it's comfortable. No one's trying to fill it. We don't need to fill the space. We just gonna be. I love that. So that's another thing I've learned to appreciate as an adult. And Coach Sherry, they're walking poles. They look like sky poles, but she uses them to hike. Interesting. You brought this up earlier, and I always used to think about and granted, sustainable fashion still's got some work to do. But as I get older, I do think more about my consumption now and what fast fashion is doing to the world. Now I haven't completely stopped it. I'll just be clear about that. But I've definitely continued to wean myself off and think about more how I reduce, reuse, and recycle, and think more about how values aligned my dollars and the manufacturer or distributor or whoever's producing it are. How values align am I in that company? And the bonus thing that I have learned to appreciate more as I've gotten older, and I think one of the keys to making adulting as easy as possible for oneself is embracing change. Because that's the one thing that's going to happen whether you choose to embrace it or not. So, might as well make it all easy on yourself and just decide to like it. And it's human nature not to like it, but the more you practice accepting it, the easier I think all the things become. So, those are my five plus a bonus things that I have learned to appreciate as an adult. Now, yes, my daughters are all about the fabrics that make up their clothes. Yeah, that's another thing, where they're sourced. Um, the thing that really gets me more than anything is I am very I think, access to dignified work is a human right. And so knowing that some of these places also just engage in work practices that are just like downright despicable, is one of the things that I personally struggle with my hypocrisy on. Um, because that's just one other aspect of um, sustainability is how we treat the workforce and how we impact those communities as well. Like that's why I was in that community that I was in about the social enterprises, because your employees are one of your stakeholders. They may not be a shareholder per se, but they are a stakeholder. And I appreciated being part of a community that was full of businesses that thought about all of their stakeholders, not just their shareholders. So that's the things I came up with. Now I'm pretty. Oh, I forgot to put my do not disturb on. Sorry about that loud noise. Um, Now the other thing that I had was a follow up to previous live that I did when we were talking about Watcher's apology. I mean, not Watcher's apology, Watcher leaving YouTube. And I started to talk about this video in my live the other day. I'll see if I can just share it real quick about this channel who had decided they were going to go off platform. It's gotten 1.8 million views now. They have 2.8 million subscribers, and they were basically telling their subscribers we're no longer going to continue to make new content here on YouTube. We're going to move off platform, and you can come join our new streaming service for $6 a month if you want to continue to enjoy our content. And I am summarizing and using not the friendliest tone, but that's how their viewers received it, in that tone, like, are you serious? And it's, yeah, Coach Cherry, I don't know if you've seen it, because a lot of people have been talking about just how poor of a business decision this was. I use this as an example of a failed negotiation, because yeah, you definitely failed that negotiation with your audience. And as we were talking about it, we were talking about how they had to come out with an apology. And they came out with an apology today. They called it just like, an update, but it did start with a sound apology and a full acknowledgement of like, we just messed that up. That was not the right move and we failed at it. Now, the apology, I think, is what, like 2 minutes and 54 seconds? 3 minutes and 40 seconds. But they acknowledged that they messed it up, that they heard everyone's feedback, that they didn't mean to disrespect their audience. And they gave quite a few different options of like how they're going to do things differently based on the feedback. And they also named better, well, not better. I would say a little, yeah, better. They named better reasons for why they need to make this move that were a lot more in touch with just where the economy is right now. But leading with the empathy of they really didn't want to um, lay anybody off is like a completely different discussion than like the price is too high on YouTube, so we can't afford it. Like, especially when you're not even saying to your viewers any attempts to cut cost, and you have like the 20 staff members. But their content, Coach Sherry, is they used to have a spot on BuzzFeed where they used to do like unsolved mysteries kind of thing. And then they moved off of BuzzFeed to their own channel where they had like a few different types of shows. So they had like they did consider themselves like on their way to becoming like a content or a media company where they were going to be telling all kinds of different types of stories. I think they did like some food stuff too. It varied. I had never heard of the channel. I had never watched any of their content, neither on BuzzFeed or as an individual one. And I I consume a lot of murder and mayhem. I do fall asleep to like murder podcast or those kind of unsolved mysteries. I like unsolved sci-fi, but yeah, I would consider it more of like a variety channel at this point. I don't even know. Let me see how do they describe themselves. Let me see what they say in the channel description. That will be interesting. Um, let's say. So, Watcher is a production studio that focuses on creating television caliber unscripted series in a digital space. Our shows have genuine curiosity and earnest exploration into a variety of topics, including food, travel, horror, and everything in between. So, yeah, variety channel, I guess, is how they describe themselves as well. But my understanding is, they could be a variety channel like that because they um had built such a following from their BuzzFeed audience, and their BuzzFeed audience was willing to follow them when they created their own channel on YouTube. So I think they did. Yeah, it looks like they did another bit called Puppet History, where they like tell history stories with a puppet. And then there's another one called Too Many Spirits, where I think they tell like drunk ghost stories. But the thing that I thought was the most interesting and probably the most egregious was the fact that they already had a Patreon channel that had subscribers, and those patrons were not going to be automatically moved over to the new thing. And not only were they not only going to be moved over, but they were going to change the type of content that they were going to get on Patreon, which is like not what those people originally subscribed to. So you're not going to give me what I paid money for, and then you're not going to move me to the new platform where you said you're moving what I paid money for. Like that is that is a violation of my trust for sure. Um, and so besides the support they were losing on YouTube, they were also losing Patreon subscribers who unsubscribed because of the faux pas as well. But I think they did a solid apology. It was probably one of the stronger, not even probably, it is most definitely one of the stronger apologies I've ever seen on the internet. There was not any type of deflection or y'all just didn't get it. And they really took ownership and accountability and responsibility for not only the choices they made beforehand to lead to this decision, but also the way they communicated the decision as well. So I think if, there's ever someone who needs to figure out how to do an apology, they're definitely someone to watch as it relates to that. Now, I think that kind of apology where it's like I am apologizing to my audience for being so out of touch and treating them in a way that felt like rude or disrespectful or like they were disposable is one thing versus when someone's apologizing for their behavior off platform or their behavior elsewhere, but it impacts their audience. But either way, the one thing that would be consistent in both is them taking full accountability and responsibility for those choices and not really putting it on anyone else. So I thought they did a solid job on that. I hope they are able to regain their audience trust. But it's just a great example of how you can spend, so much time building a reputation and building goodwill, and like one wrong move can really do damage to that. And then you have to do a lot of work trying to rebuild that. And I guess it's questionable as to like, do you have to do more work rebuilding it a second time? It's like to regain the trust of your audience. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've thought about that too in terms of even if you're a smaller channel, right? Like the promise is whatever you say you're going to do. So if I say like, yeah, welcome to this channel where I have new videos every Wednesday at 6, but every Wednesday at 6 I don't have new videos, at some point like you're not going to trust me either. So that's why I've been challenged with, even during this challenge, of like, I know I can commit to doing 30 minutes a day for 90 days. I can't commit to a specific time or I will fail. And I have to figure out, well, here's my alternative and my backup. Because as I mentioned in my other live stream the other day, I have an offsite this week, and we have like team dinners or team activities like almost every night this week. And I am like, besides tonight's like everybody's traveling. So I don't really know how I'm going to make all of this work the rest of this week. And some of it may mean I'm just going to have to record something really quick and put it up as a premiere on one of the days this week, so that at least it's still quote unquote live during that time and I don't fail my streak. But that I just physically won't be able to get on the computer before 10 p.m. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I do need it dawned on me that in the 90-day commitment, I'm gonna need a backup plan for when some unexpected emergency or something pops off, so that I don't have an excuse for not still being there. At least something, this is, my thing that stands in the gap for me. Even if it was just, past me actually planning for the fact that something might happen at some point. Or like, what happens if, yeah, like if my power goes out and I can't get on my laptop, so the only thing I got is my phone. I better have a video like scheduled in there, and I can be able to go on my phone and just move it from unlisted to premiere. Yeah, okay, that's a good option too, though. I'm glad I finally tried it this week, Coach Harry, doing it more like, yeah, this podcast style of just talking. Because then if I need to do that, I can do that. Like, that's what it allowed me to do today. Was like, I still needed to prep stuff and have my hands. So I was like, all right, let me do that while I um do this at the same time. I do like StreamYard on your phone more than I thought I would. I thought it would be a lot more cumbersome than it actually is, but it's pretty straightforward on your phone. So I will give them that. Um but yeah, tomorrow I do have a cooking class. So part of me thought, well, there might be some portion of my cooking class in which I could actually just be live. But that's also rude because I'll be there with people, and I feel like you should be, present. Even if we are waiting for something to come out of the oven for a half an hour, I'm gonna have to be like social, like talk to people. So there's that. Um, and the other thing I considered, oh, I might still have to do this. The other thing I considered was going live in the morning. I used to do these like morning live streams where it was just like music and motivational quotes to like play in the background while you're getting dressed. It was more, for me than anything else, but certainly people would come in on their commute and just say like, hi, good morning, wish people a good day. And so I thought about doing that as an option as well, because I am still going to be up early. And so I could always do that in like the 8 a.m. hour before I even go into the office. So that's another potential thought. Either way, I got to decide it all within the next like 2 hours, because it's time to get ready for bed and really get ready for tomorrow. So that's what I got planned. I also want to do we have to share some of our project plans. So that's another thing I'll probably end up doing tonight too, is just going back over all of my project plans before I'm sharing it with the team tomorrow. So I will likely, make my final decision on what my morning is going to be. But as you said, Kosheri, just try not go live. There's no way I'm not going live. That's the thing, because I have come too far to turn back now. There is no way I'm getting to day 20. Tomorrow will be day 20. And there's no way I'm getting to day 20 and I'm going to fall off. Like, I can't. Because there's too much behind me to not be able to complete what's in front of me. I'm doing it. But I think that's going to have to be the way, is like the morning stream. So if you don't see me in the evening, no, that's why. Well, you'll see me as a viewer in your live stream as you get to your day 60. But I just might not be live in the evenings. Now, if I were really planning this out, I would just go live and go to the gym in the morning and just like get my half hour in on a treadmill at the same time. That's actually not a bad idea. Now that I think about it, but I didn't plan that far either. Look, one step at a time. I've been talking about meal prepping for 3 weeks and I finally got that thing done. So I am going to accept my progress over perfection here and know that I will figure it out. Because my main goal with this challenge was to just get back on the saddle. And I'm here and I've been doing it fully on the saddle. I learned some new things. Coach Sherry, you definitely taught me some new things today with your analytic deep dive per se. That's what I would call it at this point. And I'm going to go check out some of those things. Hey, Delightful Dawn. Thank you. And there was, that's what, so Coach Sherry was showing some of going through her analytics as a result of this, what's been happening as a result of her going live for 60 consecutive days. And the new thing I had learned was that viewer time of day, like that time of day where people were watching, I don't think I ever even been in that section and didn't even know that was like something you could get out of there. So that was a good one where I learned today. And then the other thing, hold on, I gotta get right back to the page because it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna know it when I see it. But it was this, okay, I think it was an audience. And then I know what it was, but I don't have it because I don't have enough searches for it, but Coach Sherry does. So there was also the section where they were telling you that a lot of your things came from Google searches. Oh, and you could find, what the Google searches were, which then, gave you more information on kind of like what you could double down on. And like your one was the how to develop a business plan that apparently people are searching up. Okay. So I immediately wanted to, and since we're here, we might as well, and then make it up. So I immediately wanted to go to ChatGPT and be like, all right, well, knowing what I know now about Coach Sherry's audience based on those analytics, etc. What might you suggest? So let's find out, shall we? And then Coach Sherry, see if any of these resonate with you. Okay. Now, I like to tell ChatGPT who you are, okay? Because otherwise you gotta prime it. You are my YouTube content and talent manager. I am coming up with a video series on how to develop a business plan. My audience is about, for the sake of this, we're going to go with the 50-50 male to female. And ages, we're going to go with your preferred ages. So we're going to go to 34 to, I don't know, we're going to go 34 to 60. And they are often starting a service business first. Now, I picked a service business first, not knowing that that's actually what your viewers are doing, but I figure it's like lower. It is the lowest barrier to entry, right? And in which people are, when they start a business, can often start with service. So this is, let's see what ChatGPT tells us. Oh, all right. A couple strategies to create engaging video series. Series structure: introduction to business planning, components of a business plan. Ooh, I like this case studies. Ooh, I like this case studies one. Real success stories, service.
Medications in the health app.
Okay, Siri, nobody asked you anything. Oh, that's a good one too. People love these negative connotation ones of like pitfalls to avoid. So common business planning mistakes and how to dodge them. Ooh, 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 ooh. I got one. Okay. Also, knowing that your Sigma female one, or like Sigma personality one, right? Oh, okay. We're going to put those together. Thanks. These are great. Keep these in mind in terms of my ideal viewer. My viewer also likes videos on the Sigma personality, Sigma female type of personality type. Give me 5 business ideas and titles around business planning tips that help Sigma females thrive. I don't know. I'm combining them together. I don't even know what that personality type is. I gotta go watch that video. Oh. That's the Sigma female's characteristics: independent, self-reliant, and innovative. I might identify with that. Okay. Boom, pow, surprise is what ChatGPT says you could do. Ooh, okay. Empower your independence, crafting a business plan for solo entrepreneurs. Innovate from the margins, unique service niches for Sigma females. Oh, I like that one too. Building your brand, strategic marketing for the standout Sigma. Network on your own terms, relationship building for the independent entrepreneur, which is right up your alley because you like talking about networking. Ooh, okay. Yeah. These are great. All right, Coach Sherry. So, yeah, that's the rabbit hole that sent me down. Since I've already done this, what I will do is copy all of this and I will email it to you via your link in your bio, because I believe that is on your page in the description section. And now another thing you could do is like take these prompts and, once you add your own ideas to it, and then like you can still like feed those things back into ChatGPT and be like, play off this, like, have it keep going and have endless ideas. But yeah, that was one of the things that when you were going through your analytics and showed that one section about the Google searches, led me down this rabbit hole of like, oh, here, you really could come up with endless ideas around those things that people are searching for in a way that helps them find your channel. So that's what I got, and I will, Coach Sherry, I will make sure to share that with you this evening. And you know how that lady has there's that commercial about Frank's hot sauce, and that older lady's like, I put that on everything. That's me and ChatGPT. Like if I try that thing with everything. One of my favorite things to use ChatGPT for is like I will write something and I'll write it in my, my own voice and the way that I intended to write it so that I can make sure the message is quote unquote clear. And then I'll take the whole thing and put it into ChatGPT and be like, make that more clear or make it more concise. Or the other thing I love to do with ChatGPT is when, like, let's say I'm dealing with something in which, like, I'm frustrated with it, right? So I'm very matter of fact at this point when I'm communicating on it. I will give it to ChatGPT and be like, "Can you add some empathy? I ain't got none." Um, so I am a huge advocate for using the GPTs to make things easier for you. It cannot replace you. It can only just be easier for you. But I do tell people all the time, like, no, you won't be replaced by ChatGPT, but you might be replaced by someone else who's using it if you are not. So that's what I got. Oh, I love that with your LinkedIn post, Coach Sherry. That's one thing I do really have to plan in my strategy, but that's for the second leg. Because right now, my goal and the thing I got to get to this 90 days. But that's another good video. I would totally be watching that on how you use how you have a LinkedIn strategy, what type of content you use on LinkedIn. How long have I been using ChatGPT? Okay, so the first I when did the GPT I think it came out 2 years ago now. The free version came out, or maybe like a year and a half. Um Oh, I've used it also, Coach Sherry, where I was like, yeah, this is too nice. Add more vitriol. And when I needed it to help me write a scathing email, ChatGPT came through. Okay. And you can, believe it or not, it can capture some nuance, right? Like if believe it or not, ChatGPT can give you back results that are nicey if that's how you've trained it. Now, another way, yeah, I definitely use the paid version, and but you can still get a lot of value out of it with just the free version. But another way to train the GPT when you're saying in terms of like asking it to rewrite and rewrite for stuff you wouldn't use, um, tell it your voice. Like start that instance with, this is my typical writing style. Here are some samples, and give it some samples and then tell it to rewrite this in my tone or in my voice, like something like that. But and that's again why I say like it can't be, it can't replace you because the data in is still being delivered somewhere by human. Like it got it from somewhere, right? And we as humans are training the algorithm by the things that, like, we're training the GPT by the things that we ask it and the things that we tell it. Now that's another thing that keep in mind too, that because all of these things are still ultimately made by humans, right? Like if if any of the GPTs you use are using an artificial intelligence that is still ultimately coded by a human, that it still inherently has bias. You have to keep that in mind as well. Um See, yeah, I think, and I would argue with him on that, in that true writer is not going to use it to write your thing, right? But is a true writer going to use it to help them outline so they can plan their writing? Possibly. Or maybe they just put their outline in there, but it helps them plan their schedule for, okay, I'm going to write every day for this amount of time with this amount of words by the time I get done, because that's when it's going to get me to 800 words and 300 pages by the end of this date or something to that effect. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you're going to use it for the creative content, but perhaps you'll use it for the process to make that part easier for you and reduce some friction around there. But either way, for art, I am a firm believer, and I'm still trying to figure out how you make this work with YouTube. When they say good artists copy and great artists steal. But and this is also why, to your son's point, right? You can't fully trust the GPT, because you could try to use that to write your stuff, but it is still the data it's being fed is stuff that already exists out there, right? So you use ChatGPT to write your stuff, and you really get back something that's really written by someone else already somewhere else there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you do have to always rewrite it and tweak it. But the other good thing it's for that is you can also just use it to ask you questions, not necessarily to answer the questions, but to ask the questions that perhaps you aren't thinking of, right? So that might be something that I might ask if I'm trying to develop a character, and I might say, I'm developing a character. These are the things I know about her so far. This is what I have about her character arc up until this point, but I'm not sure where I want to go next. Ask me questions about this character to help me flesh it out. And that in itself might just be the thing that you need to get you to the next thing, right? Because it's not going to answer it for you. It's literally just going to ask you questions about that character so that you can now answer them for yourself or from that voice. I mean, another thing you could do, that would be interesting, is you could put the character's information in there and then have a conversation with GPT as the character. And that could be an interesting way to help you continue to flesh out what you want to do with your story. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, but I think there's endless uses of it, and I am a fan. So, but yeah, I was definitely inspired by learning that part of the analytics today and seeing that immediately seeing that as a use case of oh, here we go. So I will definitely, like I said, I'll send that to you tonight before I go to sleep. So that it is not a monkey on my back tomorrow. And yeah, that was fun. I'm glad I did that at the end, that we took the extra time for it. Yes, Dawn, I could do a live on AI for sure. Now that is also another thing that I could talk about all the time, because I agree it's the new thing and it's not going anywhere. And for all those people who are like, oh, I feel like AI is going to be the downfall of humanity. Nope. Humanity is going to be the downfall of humanity. This is a tool that we can use. Let's just hope humans can be better people and don't use the tools that we have for bad things. And honestly, the one thing not the one thing, AI has been a thing that's continued to give me hope and stuff in humanity, because when Sam Altman got fired, who was the first person from open source who gave out ChatGPT, and he essentially got fired because the board was being greedy. There's no other way to say it, right? He cares about being ethical with artificial intelligence, and to know that after he got fired, basically all the staff and the board were oh well, and all the staff was quitting, and the people that were on the board that did not agree with it basically ousted the ones that caused this riff and got him back, meaning that those who are they get it, they understand the responsibility that they have, but ultimately it's going to be up to humanity for us to shepherd its best uses. So but yeah, what I'm sending Coach Sherry, Dawn, is what we just did was the outline of some of the things that she could do with her channel based on the analytics that she shared earlier. because those two things that we talked about were things that are specifically when people search for them in Google, Coach Sherry's channel already comes up, and that's how people find her. So all the more reason why she could do more content on that, especially because it's content that she actually loves to talk about and is well versed in. So it's like can't beat that. And I think that's, the sweet spot too that we're all looking for is like what are the things that, my channel will focus on that not only am I good at and have experience in, but I really like doing it. And I would want to do it all the time. Like Dawn, I told you that you really should go ahead and figure out like what your live stream like I guess regular format because yeah, you're really good at keeping the energy up and engaging with people, and I just don't like everybody can't do lives. If they did, everybody'd be doing them. So so I would, yeah, keep that in mind. But this was lovely. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night.